sat around formica-topped tables in loose, taciturn groups, waiting with charmless impatience for the pubs to open at 11:30, while their clothes steamed unpleasantly. Conversation was scant. Each man nursed a cup of strong tea, smoked roll-ups down to the stub, miserably totted up halfpennies dug from deep trouser pockets, or idly polished a flick-knife blade with a handkerchief, or at least until the proprietor yelled, "Oi!" from behind the counter. It would have been madness for barrow boy Cecil to be out. "See the bunny run, madam," was his perpetual patter, as he wound up the plastic mechanical toys on his felt-lined peddler's tray, and waved a showman's hand, as if the world offered nothing more splendid than their stiff, arthritic hopping. "See the bunny jump, sir, only £0.50. See the bunny jump." Well, what sort of idiot holiday-maker would be in the market for a cheap, foreign-made clockwork toy in weather like this? But there was another good reason. Cecil's regular pitch was at the Clock Tower, a location that tended to bear the brunt of inclement conditions, what with it being a major crossroads, exposed to winds whipping straight up West Street from the sea. In some ways it was an excellent spot, providing a 360-degree vantage point for a trusted lieutenant in a well-organised criminal gang headed by a woman cunningly posing as a charlady at the police station. It made him the visible hub of the organisation, almost its talisman. "What's the lay, Cecil?" Mrs. Groynes would traditionally ask, smiling, as she stood in front of him at least twice a week, pretending to purchase a bunny for a favourite niece. Alternatively, if she needed him to act as an urgent bush telegraph, she would get hold of young Shorty, trusted juvenile messenger, and hiss, "Get this to Cecil, he'll tell the others." So there was no gainsaying the topographical advantage of Cecil's position, but there was also no denying that it was dismal when the wind blew hard from the south and the rain came down like bullets. So that's why no one missed him initially. There were 4 perfectly good reasons for barrow boy Cecil to be absent from the streets. In the first place, there was 0 passing trade. Second, standing in his usual place, it would be like having buckets of water chucked in your face. Third, he secretly received a regular substantial stipend from Mrs. Groynes anyway, so the revenue from the bunnies concerned him little. But the fourth factor was probably the clincher. In conditions like these, the bunnies not only blew about on the flimsy tray suspended from Cecil's neck, their mechanisms seized up, and they toppled over onto their backs, making a heartbreaking noise, fizz, 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 with their little legs kicking feebly at the air. Sergeant Brunswick was the first to ask where Cecil was. For several years the sergeant had, deludedly, been passing money to the bunny man every couple of weeks, in return for information about criminal activity in the town. Sometimes this outlay was later reclaimed from petty cash. More often it came from the sergeant's own pocket. He wasn't very clever about money. It was only 10 shillings, but you could buy quite a lot for that. 2 tins of salmon, 60 cigarettes, several quick haircuts from Rodolfo the barber on Western Road. However, if the sergeant wished to throw his money away on Cecil, it was up to him, and it made him feel he was doing his job properly. For his own part, Cecil quite relished the comic role of underworld grass. Sometimes, alone in the evening, he practised in a mirror, tilting his hat forward, tapping his nose, and speaking shiftily out of the side of his mouth. At one point he toyed with having a toothpick clamped between his jaws, but it turned out to be almost impossible to say, "See the bunny run," with your jaws clenched. Also, for proper authenticity, you had to manoeuvre the stick from one side of your mouth to the other, and the first time he tried this, he nearly swallowed it. But Cecil didn't assume the role of double agent for his own entertainment. It was entirely for the benefit of the gang. For Mrs. Groynes's purposes, this informer arrangement was a reliable means of sending the police, in the person of Sergeant Brunswick, on well-timed wild goose chases when she had important criminal business to conduct. "Word is, you should keep an eye on that new buy-right supermarket, Sergeant," Cecil would murmur conspiratorially, head down, lips exaggeratedly lopsided, like Popeye, as he picked up a toy, wound it up, and placed it on the tray. Then, loudly, with the usual flourish of the arm, "See the bunny run, sir. Lovely, innit?"